information right there, but I think it's time to get your meds, and I'm hoping
Let's do
that
it.
this is it.
It's time for your medicine.
It's time for your medicine, Jorge Medina. Hey,
Yo, yes, yes, yes. Get your meds. So the digital age, bro. The digital age. Are we in it? Are we in it right now?
I,
Is that what's
I,
happening
I
right
think
now?
yes, I think that was the plan all along, and I think the plan is bigger than us Earthlings.
Speak on that. Speak on that, Sam. What are we talking about here? Talk to me.
So when you think about assimilation, right? You think of what's happening with virtual. You talk about autonomy, everything that's happening. If you look at what's happening in Japan, they're creating robotic androids that are actually walking and talking. And I mean, when you think about what's that movie with Will Smith,
Hi, robot.
I Robot. That's exactly what's happening, right? So, several things. Number one, whatever it is, the intention is. It seems like it's intentional to keep
Whatever
everyone.
the Okay, go
It
ahead.
seems like it's intention. In my opinion, it seems like it's intentional to keep everybody at home, because all of these office spaces are going out of business. Are now they're having people work from home. So it's almost as if you don't want too many eyes on the street. Social distance, because what happens is when you're, it's almost eliminate the prospect of collective gathering, groups. You know what I'm saying? And so once you're distant, you limit the ability to socialize, radicalize, right? To build communities around something. So for me, it just seems like very suspicious what's happening around in society with all of this and these lockdowns. And I mean, I think I was reading an article where it says, all you had all these years where we still haven't found a vaccine for AIDS. We couldn't find a vaccine for all these, but in less than a year, we got a vaccine for COVID. Sounds suspicious, right? So how did we do it in a year? This was part of the process, and I think we're just playing into it. That's just me. Don't shut me down, YouTube. I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
You,
I'm just saying
you,
it's kind of fishy.
Well, let me tell you something. When I thought of this topic, I thought, comics, digital, and it was a happy-go-lucky. And then you come in and turn it into this, like, listen, man, they're trying to keep us indoor, man. He's like, listen, man, they're trying to keep us indoor, man. But no, hey, listen, dude, I'm all for a good conspiracy theory. Now, let me ask you this, though. Do you think that the pandemic, right? It's real. It's not
Oh, it's real. The effects are real.
real.
You can't
Do
you
you
can't front.
do you think that it was put out there for this purpose?
Yeah, I think it was an experiment. I think when you
Oh
think
no.
about if you look back in time, in a lot of these lectures, and whether it was by Bill Gates or whatever, everyone was planting the seeds of what's to come, training your mind, conditioning you to accept the idea when it does happen. If we don't do this and we have another pandemic, if we don't do this and we have another pandemic. So I think what happens is globally people got together saying, what will happen if we did this? Let's see the effects. Boom. Right? That's a way to shut things down immediately. What better way to say your life is at risk, so you need to stay home? You know,
Right.
it's good. I believe that vaccine comes with a chip. That's just me. That now
Done.
your health is being tracked, your whereabouts are being tracked. It's part because we don't want to be chipped, right? So humans don't want to be chipped. And they started with the animals. Chip your animals so you can track your animals. But then, and that's conditioning us to accept the idea. We didn't want G5. I mean, what is it? G5. And so then all of a sudden now you need G5 because you're at home and you don't have the bandwidth and you don't have it. So now
Oh,
everybody
the
wants.
5G.
I mean, 5G,
5G.
yeah. So no one wanted it. You've seen all around the world, they were ripping down towers, they were protesting 5G, all this other stuff. Then COVID hits. Now you're at home, homeschooling. You don't have the bandwidth. You don't have the tools. I need G5, 5G.
5G.
I need
Yeah.
5G, right? So
Yeah.
all that's so it's
Fair.
it's all mental conditioning, and I think we
That's
just
a fair
fall
point.
victim to it because we don't know any better. That's just me.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, man, fair point. I mean, to me, what you're saying, makes sense. I mean, how else do you control the people, and what is it? Was it Machiavelli that said, you know, it's better to be feared than loved because the fear lasts longer?
Yeah.
And I think that if you're afraid to die, everybody is, right? That's the biggest fear. I mean, I think if you ask people, what are you afraid of? Most people aren't afraid of anything. But people will say they're afraid to die, right? They're afraid to miss out or to, you know, have people die. And if this is the way to control that, you know, you control it by fear, why not? Who says that that's not what's going to happen? I just love how we just went into this hole of conspiracies. But dude,
He started it.
when you think about, but when you think about it, and I don't know where comics are going to go, right? And I'm just going to bring it back to the comics when I'm talking about the digital thing. I don't know that the holding a comic book in your hand is going to go away. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Kids today, you know, dude, little babies can unlock a phone almost and like go through it and YouTube this and YouTube that. So they are used to this. I'm not. Like I still prefer a comic, but you know, I was born in the late 70s. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I know.
Right.
You know, I don't know that comics will go away right away. I mean, the physical copy of the comic book, but I think that it is leaning towards that.
There's a big push to digital. There's a big push to eliminate the norm, the status quo. And the problem is we are a touchy-feely society. We like mementos. We like things. We like to touch things. I prefer to have a book in my hand. I don't buy a lot of digital. I always get the physical copies. I just love having the book, being able to bookmark, be able to highlight whatever it is. Same as comics, and I think it's a way. Not only that, but it's a way just to be part of something when you go to a comic shop and you feel like, you know, you feel normal and you feel like a kid again. But this is a big push. But I think you know, when you see what happened with Valiant, they did a motion comic book that they released on YouTube. That costs money, you know.
The motion comics have been out for a while, I feel like, you know.
And the reason why they haven't been, it's because it costs money.
It does.
But they're using that as a way, as a means to promote their physical books. But how much money you spending, because they really did a really good job on their motion comic. They have, you know, voiceover actors, and you know, they really, you know, they animated the backgrounds. So that takes a lot of time and effort. But
Yeah.
you know, people are. I mean, just like right now, when you think about some of the things, I think it was like corporate offices. No plans for, like, I guess Google's corporate office to open until June next year, or Amazon's, whatever, June next year. So think of that, and now I think about our world.
Well, June this year, but yeah. I know what you mean.
June 2021. Yeah, this year.
Yeah, this year.
Yeah, this year. Think about what that does for Comic Cons.
Right.
You know, big venues. You know, will we even have that opportunity again this year? Because I don't know how any of these virtual cons were successful. I don't know how they monetize. You know, I think there's a lot of expenditures on their part to get celebrity names and do these things. But how do you monetize it? And how do you got to think about the payroll, the amount of people that you have to put these productions on. But
I think, to me, it when you talk about that on a scale like these big conventions,
right,
you're talking about people who are hired to program, because they're not. They aren't using Zoom. I don't think. I think they're using their own.
No, there's a lot of different. Yeah, there's a lot of different ones
to do it. Right.
Yeah.
They are paying for that. To be able to do that, to customize however they want to do it.
Yes.
You know, this isn't just like, you know. So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of money being spent there. I was obviously, with what happened, you know, late last year, and I'm talking about late last year, but what's happening now is basically with HBO Max and Warner Brothers, and how Warner Brothers has now sent all of their movies for streaming to HBO Max only, specific to HBO, which angered a lot of, you know, directors and actors, because now their viewingship is limited to that one, you know, streaming service. Now, you used to be able to go to the movies and all over the country, anybody who had 15, $20 can just go to a movie and watch that movie. Now you have to have a subscription to watch that actor or that. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of control. I think that there's a lot of control in this digital age that we're living in. It's about control, and it's about
It is control what you read, control what you consume.
Yeah.
They want to have a standard narrative. When you think about, I mean, this whole argument about the right versus the left, and all this other stuff, whatever. It's a power struggle, and who can be the most persuasive, and I think this is where your independence and really understanding all sides before you make a judgment call. Same thing. I think in comic books, I think you have to decide, is it worth it? Because I think you have to work 10 times harder if everything goes digital than you did if you were exposed to be able to go out and do events and network and all that stuff, because now you don't have access. So now you have
people don't have access to you.
Right. So you
Right.
have to create
Yeah.
access.
Yeah.
And what happens? You're going to try to sell your stuff on Amazon, you're going up against millions. And
No,
unless you pay,
you're right.
unless you
Absolutely.
pay Amazon to promote, nothing's going to get seen. So you have to work so much harder just to get notoriety and just to move your product. That's
Yeah.
that's the problem.
Yeah, because you have to stay relevant, and the only way to stay relevant is, YouTube channel. They have a lot of people now have YouTube channels, right? You have your social media. That is controlled.
Yes.
Like the logarithms on a lot of that social media isn't just, I'm gonna post something and everybody's gonna see it. Nah,
Right.
homie.
No.
Not everybody will see it. You have to make sure that people comment. You have to make sure that people like it. You have to make sure people share it. There are a lot of things that have to happen in order for your post to be seen by the amount of people you want that
Yes.
post to be seen.
And if you don't wake
know?
up every morning with this in mind, every day, I'm hustling. If you don't wake up with that in mind, I'm telling you, like I went to sleep this morning at 3 a.m. This entrepreneur stuff is for the birds. So I went.
it ain't no 9 to 5.
No, because I'm in. I forget, because now that I'm in my own creative space, I lose track of time. I forgot to
yeah.
eat.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I had dinner at 2 a.m. I didn't eat before
They're all messed up.
from 3 in the afternoon. I didn't eat, and so it's because I was so focused on what I was doing in the studio, and I think that's what it is the grind. You have to work that much harder,
Right.
because we're indoors. We're indoors. Tomorrow I'm going to my local comic shop and to talk to the comic owner about getting him on the show and talk about how he's making it through this whole process.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Life as we know it is changing right before our eyes, right? Like, think about the kids that are being born into this pandemic. They don't know a world outside of being home with your mom or dad
Yeah.
because they're home from work. They don't know about a lot. I don't know how long this is going to last. What if they never know about daycare, or mom and dad never leave the house? They're always home. This is just the way it is. I don't know what it's like to, go to school.
Yeah.
I just sit in front of a computer and talk to a teacher, on the other side of the screen. And I don't know what it's like to touch other people. Like, it's scary, dude. Like,
Yes.
think about how scary that can get.
And what
bro.
does that
Like,
do? What does that do for depression? What does that do for kids' ability to have a conversation with somebody, a
Social
stranger?
skills.
Social skills.
Yeah, social skills, just basic social skills.
I mean, it's I think about the strain it puts on the homes, because that's you got to talk to the same people all day, every day. You need a break.
Right.
You know what I
Or
mean?
what if you live by yourself?
If you live, the only even worse. It's it's
Right?
like so.
It's-
It's like what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like there's only so much you could do by yourself. You have to, So that's what I think for me, it's like even like with what I'm doing, it's like I have to go and walk the dogs every day to get outside and talk to the neighbors in the neighborhood.
yeah, dude.
I find a reason to go to the supermarket to get something, even if it's for one thing. I was like, I just want to see people. It's like it's one of those things where it's like it's a little scary. But what I recognize is I'm not assuming that 2021 this year is going to be any different than 2020.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm going in and saying, what if it stays the same and social distancing is the way it is and there are no events, what do I need to do differently? What I need to change in my mindset, and what does the hustle look like? And that's where I think everyone needs to put themselves in that position to say, what do I have to do differently now? Because you have to work so much harder. You have to work.
Do you push digital copies of your comic?
I will be, but I want to push the physical as well. So the print on demand, so what are the things I'm doing now is converting everything so it can be on, was it Indie Planet? Because I didn't have print on demand with any of my books. Everything is digital. Everything is, on Barnes & Nobles, or you can get my books digital on Barnes & Nobles or Amazon. And that's not working out much because I refuse to pay those premium advertising costs that they want.
Everything you have to pay for everything.
Yeah. I was like, I can't. Now I'm eating peanut butter. Stop the nonsense, right? So my lunch is a bag of almonds, and so it's like so what do I have to do to promote that? And that's where grinding in the studio and trying to figure out what does that look like. That's why I'm trying to create as many avenues of multi-channel marketing and communication means to be able to get out to the public. So that way, I think diversifying yourself is critical. I think being part of communities, whether, Facebook communities, YouTube communities, Instagram communities, I think you need to start networking with a lot of different people in order to grow. But also remember, you're competing with those people as well. Right? So where's the balance? So it's tough.
Yeah. I think, the silver lining and maybe the positive person in me says, well, what's going to happen is these streaming services are going to need new ideas.
Yeah.
Right. And where are these ideas going to come from? If it's not the independents, you know what I mean? You're not going to have these, these movie houses like Marvel. Marvel's got it. They're doing their thing, and Spider-Man is coming, I think. But I think that a lot of these, like the Hulus of the world, the Netflix, the Prime, they're going to need content. And I think that that's where we come in as small indies. I think that's where we come in. I think that's what the digital age kind of helps us. If we do it right, if we are serious about our work, we hustle, we finish what we start, and we learn how to push and promote ourselves. I think that there are big things that are out there for us. What happened?
You got spooked.
No, somebody walked by.
Yeah, I know. It's like, who that? Who that? He said me. No, I think that is critical. I think it's important. I spend a lot of time thinking, anticipating what's going to change. I'm reading a lot of articles in the industry and what's happening out there, trying to make certain that we're relevant, we're try to be ahead of the game, and and be competitive. And I think that's the biggest thing. I look at it as a sport as well. It's a passion, but it's also a sport. Because it's how do you play to win? I'm not playing just to sit on the bench. I don't want to be on the team to sit on the bench and I'm getting a check, but I never get put into the game. And so no, I never get to learn or grow because I'm not playing. So I think that's the biggest thing is get on the field and play. And adapt and adjust. Don't put your eggs in one basket and don't assume you know what's happening, because it's.
Well, this is the biggest time. Like if you have a hard time adapting, or if you have a hard time, being that person that, well, I'm too old to do this, I'm too old to learn that.
Yes.
You're done. You're done. If you're that creator that thinks that way, you better have a lot of money in the bank. You better have, people working for you, whether you make them do what you need, but because other than that, you have to learn everything. You got to be able to get on these, Zoom calls or whatever to promote yourself. Have a smartphone that allows you to go on Instagram or Facebook or Snapchat, Twitch, whatever. Yeah. To promote yourself. Because if you live in that, well, that's not for me. I'm not into that. Then you just become irrelevant.
It's just it's not.
Crazy.
Acquiesce. No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met him.
say my name, say my name. Right?
This is what you were thinking? Oh my
How he described me? He said, "I'm the." What?
Catch the Craze.
You're listening to Catch the Craze.
You're listening to Catch the Craze.
To Catch the Craze.
You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze.
You're listening to Catch the Craze.